And check this out. I recently heard the following. This is what I heard. You will be amazed at how much integrity will reduce your stress. You see, when you walk with integrity, and by the way, integrity is what? Doing the right thing even when no one's watching. So when you do the right thing when no one's watching, when you walk with integrity, here's what the person said. I'm not sure if it was like a Facebook story or a reel. I'm not sure, but this is what the person said. When you walk with integrity, you reduce your stress. You do the right thing, you reduce your stress. And the result of that is that there is no guilt. With integrity, you have nothing to fear because you have nothing to hide. Wow, right? So I feel like this is dead on. And today I wish nothing more than to speak to the person who has carried with you a lifelong voice. Now, it sounds internal, but it's not. It's 1,000% external. I'm talking about that voice that condemns you and points out all of your day-to-day insecurities and weaknesses. Secular psychology refers to it as the imposter syndrome. That voice that no matter what's happening or how well you're doing in life, you could be attending church regularly. You could be serving within the church. You could be even on the worship team. Perhaps you're rescuing kittens off the treetops. Maybe you're helping the elderly walk across the street. Maybe you're like me, who grew up in church, hid behind religion, and disguised my greatest fears through performance. I even became a missionary. I have a beautiful family, and it all appeared to be fine on my end. But really, I was afraid of my own shadow. Feel me? My knees trembled at the thought of my greatest fear. So, you could be doing everything right. But that external voice is loud, and it tells you the following. If they only knew the real you, what would people really think of you? I live daily with that voice yapping and yapping in my ear for almost 40 years. I know when it started, in what event in my life triggered it or activated it, but that's for another episode. If you can relate to what I just said, and you feel that because of this voice, you are in the ring with Mike Tyson daily, taking uppercut after uppercut, today I want to share with you how to put a face to that voice. You're going to need to. You're going to need to look at that face straight in the eyes and take authority. And I want to share with you how you do that. First of all, you have to recognize that it's not your voice. That voice does not belong to you. It's an external voice, and it's coming from the father of all lies and his demonic hordes of demons who want to control your mind. Remember, there is a barbaric, savage, brutal, all-out war against your soul. And to conquer your soul, they first have to get to your mind. If they control your mind, they eat your lunch. Your day is ruined. I got great news for you, though. In John chapter 10, in the Gospel of John, Jesus reminds his disciples, and he reminds us that if we hear his voice as his sheep, if my sheep hear my voice and they follow me. So are you his sheep? If not, I invite you to ask Jesus to be the Lord of your life. That's how you become his sheep. That's how you come into the fold. You are born again. You are regenerated. Okay? So you have to know what voice you're listening to. And I'm going to elaborate more on this in a future episode. But here's I think the main component, the main thing that you have to factor in on how to make sure that you're hearing the right voice. You have to know who you are. In Matthew chapter 4, we see how the devil comes to Jesus during Jesus's fast. And the first thing he goes at, the first thing that the enemy takes a swing at is Jesus' identity. He says, if you are the Son of God, turn these stones into bread. He came after his sonship. He came after his identity. So me, before I am a father, before I am a husband, I am his son. And if I know who he is and I know who I am, I know whose voice I'm listening to. I want to talk more about this subject later on. I'm so glad that you gave me a couple minutes to speak on this particular subject, which, listen, I know I'm not alone. I wasn't alone. And like I tell some of the men and women that I disciple currently is, listen, this is not going to go away. These voices don't go away. They at times seem to reduce the volume, the decibels. And there's windows of time where you're like, where did they go? Well, listen, until you take your last breath, as far as I'm concerned, and before you go on to be with the Lord, you're going to have these voices yapping at you. But you got to know they're not your voices, right? And you got to know what their agenda is, and that's to steal your identity. Stand on business. This has been Jorge with Full Circle International. Until we talk again, God bless you.